Welcome to Rauta's Underground Trio. Once again, we have three different albums of three different styles, all different countries also, but these are more or less quite black metal related, yet also different in style. First, I'll introduce them quickly in alphabetical order, and then I'll go from worst to best, according to my opinion. Once again, feel free to disagree and all. First, we'll have here Asgrauw. Don't confuse this with Asgrauw. Both are Dutch bands. This is the sixth album, Oorsprong. Really hard to pronounce those properly, so take it with my Finnish one. Then we have Letheria from Finland, a band from the 90s with the second album, Misanthrone. And finally, something from Sweden, Seid, Hymns to the Norse. So, since these are all a little bit different, yet, however, coming certain same corners, it's somewhat easy to compare them to a degree. First, we'll go to 1998, Finland with Letheria and Misanthrone. It's obviously a wordplay of misanthrope and throne. I guess you pretty much figured out without me explaining it. Has 12 tracks and now 69 minutes. That's already a red flag for me because most albums are not that good that you would rather listen to them some past 60 minutes, if even some 45 minutes is sometimes too much. But be this may, this is simple digipack, no booklet whatsoever, just a background image here, and then the official lineup look here, photo of two gentlemen. But there is more than to that, and it's explained here, logos, whatever, liner notes. And this is released through a smaller label. Couldn't really figure it out where it's mentioned properly, but yeah, you will see it in the description. I will make sure that it's all correct there. What can we say about Letheria is that they did a lot of demos back in the days. I already got to know this band early 2000s. Probably gone through something like 5 demos or so throughout the years. And as such, I've been following, maybe not closely, but still the band's, career. At some point, nothing was heard from them. And after those years, when they kind of moved to EP era or phase, something happened and we didn't really hear from the band. And then suddenly there was like 2018 debut album. Now 6 years later they have the second album, and unfortunately this seems more like a compilation of things rather than fully focused album. Now one thing needs to be mentioned, even though the band has been since 1998, there's only one permanent member in the band and the rest of the lineup pretty much changed around 2014 or so, which means the band has kind of gone through drastic changes throughout the years. Mostly this has been about death metal, that with a little bit gothic in the mix, gothic rock, gothic metal, whatever, and black metal. So whether you call it now death metal with black metal seasoning or just straight out black death metal, both are, I guess, fine. But if you go as far as to say black death metal, don't confuse this with a lot of war metal bands, because this is not that kind of death black really. There's nothing really chaotic or fast tempo or pure aggression with that, but more like atmospheric one. At certain point when this band was more in the demo phase, it was kind of like a combination of death metal and those gothic parts and black metal seasoning with a little bit like off, kind of unique, but then again also having familiar elements. These are somewhat existing still on this album, but obviously things have changed also. Now a couple of things I want to mention, because it's not like I hate this album, I'm just saying that 69 minutes without having killer songs is just outright too much. And there are a couple of pointers which are worth mentioning. First of all, none of these tracks really stand out. It's just like pretty much the solid, consistent style throughout the album, even though there are obviously changes and there are parts where it's kind of like, this is not your typical Letheria track. Like certain tracks have more, towards the end especially, the last track, female vocals, clean male vocals and all that stuff, where it kind of ceases to exist as a death metal thing. I mean, it doesn't really sound death metal towards the end. So it kind of transforms throughout the course of the action, and for some people it's gonna be a letdown. I mean, if you expect some kind of a heaviness and brutality and all, well, you're gonna be disappointed in that segment, because first of all, while there are growlier parts and certain riffs are definitely more in the death metal department, there are also parts where you feel like, whatever happened to this band? Like, where did this go? Why did they change so much the style? So it's almost like a I don't know, in a way, a river that keeps turning and twisting and changes over the course of action. Some things are better, obviously, than the others, but for me, it's a little bit of a mess. It's almost like the focus point was lost, and suddenly the band is like, how the end we supposed to sound like this, what we started as a death metal thing. So, in my opinion, cut the thing in half, choose only the best parts, and this could have been a decent album. Now it's a little bit of a lukewarm mediocrity, I'm afraid to say. But that being said, if you have ever heard Letheria before and know how they sound and you like that, now it's worth your time to give this one a go. But I still gotta say, during the demo years, they were more focused and the songwriting in general was better. So in my opinion, they kind of are reverted into something that I hope was not happening. But it's good to have these guys back, and maybe the next one, maybe the third challenging one, will be really the good one. This is too much of a mix of different things which don't necessarily, fit so nicely together. Then we moved to Sweden with a beautiful cover on this Seid album, hence to the Norse. This is the 5th album by the band, and this also is a quite old one, 2009, so 11 years younger than Letheria, but still, 15 years, that's gotta be worth something. I previously featured Seid's earlier album on LP maybe a year ago, and that kind of proved that this band can do some proper pagan black metal, which is essentially what's happening here as well. This is as much, as you can see, pretty much the same kind of packaging, no booklet, so all the notes are here, and the lineup, etc. There are no lyrics whatsoever, so if you're looking for them, you're gonna be disappointed. The packaging itself is though beautiful. I like the colors, I like the feeling. This is, like a Finnish colors with a Viking theme, very, very Nordic. You get the kind of this could probably sky, but couldn't really be the kind of a snowy thing, but yeah, it's sky because there's sea and Viking boat and Viking warrior. Everything is about Vikings, but don't expect the more kind of a battery thing here, or those more folkier type of black metal bands. More like a Swedish take of what if, bands like Enslaved stuck more into the world of black metal rather than going into more progressive ways. So this is definitely the kind of a pagan black metal thing happening here, meaning it's kind of a very, very traditional in the sense of, having melodies and tempo changes from more aggressive to more mid-tempo and then back and forth, which, the kind of raspy vocals and all. Talking of raspy vocals, however, got to be said, I wish they were more on the front, more aggression and all that now. Now it feels it a little bit held back. It's no means bad, but let's be honest, that could be so much more greater. It's almost like passion is missing. When it comes to songwriting, all is pretty solid and consistent. There are no weird points or what the hell moments. It's just like, if you like one or two tracks, you're gonna like it all. But then again, nothing is really highlighting the album here, meaning there are no peak ones like, wow, this is really the good song or good riff. Everything is kind of solid, yet at the same time very basic. So it depends on your, thing about how much you like Nordic kind of a black metal to begin with. Because this is not the, top tier stuff, challenging the classics and all, but more like the bubbling under kind of a thing. So, decent album all in all, but still, I wish something more magical was happening. Maybe more killer riffs, maybe those outstanding melodies, maybe the aggression with the vocals, and to be honest, frankly, lastly, a little bit better production. Now it's almost like it's kind of looking for that kind of a brutality, power, strength and all, and it's not having it. But there is something nice going on, so give Seid a go. And my favorite one this time comes from Netherlands. This is 2010, so the youngest of them all, but also the only band of this time which has 6 albums out, this one. However, for reasons unknown to me, this band hasn't really gotten the attraction, the fame and all, and I can make a couple of guesses, one of them being, Netherlands, not the sexiest country of them all when it comes to black metal. But that shouldn't, mean that this is not worth checking out, because these guys are doing melodic black metal, the rather basic standard, but in a good way. Meaning they ain't doing the mistakes. Nothing here, once again, is much like, say, there are no real peak moments. This is why it maybe feels a little bit more just decent than outright good or great album. But everything here is nicely done. Whether we're talking about the vocals, I don't know why this one has a J card, by the way. because this is kind of like oh, it's not the J card. Now that I was thinking it's a J card, but yeah. Okay, now I understand it. Slow brains and all. This is the kind of stuff that you can put it, in here to kind of fit it in. So yeah, interesting choice to include it. Not mandatory though. So as I was saying, they have the melodies, they have the atmospheric parts, they have the synthesizers. So not exactly symphonic black metal. Don't go as far as Emperor and the like. But technically speaking, halfway there. There are lots of bands which go like melodic, atmospheric, and a little bit synth without going, fully orchestrated and symphonic and all. And that's where Asgrauw totally stands. They're doing it right. But the magical things like the super good melodies are just like, these are not these. These are not the ones we're talking about. The really great ones, which you really like, oh man, it's touching my brain and lighting up, putting it in fire. And my point here is, this is the kind of too basic stuff to really stand out. So while they have the good production, while they understand the dynamics, how much to use keyboard without going overly, over the top with that, or guitar parts, whatever. But songwriting could be even catchier. Now it's doing the favor in a sense, like, yeah, this is nice to listen to and, all. So it's still, kind of a warm-up band phase. You're going to see some, I don't know, Marduk live, then you're going to see that one, and the band warming up before them, and this is the opening act still. So while they do understand the style, and they do it nicely, given the production, vocals, whatever, like I just said, still, the magic is not there yet. I mean, if you're thinking about a lot of bands of this genre, there's so many bands and albums that have been doing the similar stuff better. So in a way, for example, I'm thinking like bands like early Andosians, before they kind of transitioned into more, say, industrial, or the later ones. This is basically in the same department, but they do not have that catchy keyboard parts or guitar melodies. That's still being said, however, I want to make sure that you understand this is definitely on the good side of things. That's why this is the best of the pile here this time. But these are all a little bit different. If you're looking more traditional, kind of pagan black metal, being a little bit raw, then you go for Seid. If you want to nice, soft, sweet keyboard black metal with melodies and all, you go for Asgrauw. Or if you want to experience 69 minutes of inconsistency, gothic parts, including with your death metal and a little bit black metal seasoning, then you go for Letheria. All links are included in the description box, obviously, so you can figure out which ones you want to listen, which ones you want to enjoy, and maybe invest some money. Now, this is my order with these albums. Yours might be truly different, so you decide what you like, obviously, and of course, and feel free to comment like which albums you like, or if some of these bands are some of your previous favorites, like maybe you've been listening to Letheria since 1998 or so. I don't know. Let me know with the comments box below, and see you soon with more review videos coming your way. Ciao.